Hello, everyone, and welcome to the FOB Equestria podcast, the official podcast of Forward Operating Base Equestria, home of the military bronies. This is your host, regular host anyway, Spangle, and I have with me this week the regular attendant, Scarlett. Say hi.
Hello.
And a newcomer to the podcast, one of our ghosting staff members, Brony Joe. Say hello.
Newcomer, excuse you. I've been on my fair share of podcasts. Thank you very much.
You're right. But you're a newcomer to when I am the host. Let's be honest. I've never had you on one before.
Yeah, touche. Wubba lubba dub dubs!
Wubba lubba dub dub! There was a good remix. You just made me think of a good remix. So, for those who don't follow the music scene much, Alex S. apparently changed his name to, I can't even say it properly. But if you go to his old channel, you'll definitely see it. Still begins with an A. It's like Andromedus or something like that. I don't even know. But he did
I believe that's right.
He did. I know I butchered it. I know that's not the proper way to say it. But you saying that reminded me that he did a Rick and Morty song remix, and he used that sample.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
When you say Rick and Morty, I think of X gonna give it to you. We gonna give it to you. X gonna give it to you.
Oh, my goodness. I feel like, okay, but anyway, I just wanted to get that off my brain before we got into discussion. So, first topic for discussion during this podcast is going to be the staff. So recently we had two members resign, Red Sage and Dizziest Beef. They just kind of didn't feel like they had anything to really contribute anymore, and at the same time they want to be able to focus a bit more on life things. They both got a few personal, events going on that require their attention. So they have unfortunately resigned. I mean, we're all going to miss them, but at the same time, we wish them the best. And we are also bringing on a few new artists, however, to the Facebook event, Staff Ship Saturdays. There we go, if I could not trip over my own tongue. Scarlett has a bit more information about that, so please elaborate.
Yay! My turn. Okay, so basically last time I said each month we're going to showcase a different artist, and this month is Christina K from the DC Bronies. If you go to the Facebook page, you will find the link to her Facebook and her DeviantART.
Yes, because we always do our best to give credit to the artists. You know, we don't want to ever give the impression that we're claiming someone else's work is our own. The art community is a little bit sensitive to that, and understandably so.
Yeah, but go and check out her Facebook and her DeviantArt, and she is open for commissions if anyone wants commissions from her.
Awesome. Sounds like it's a good thing. So for anyone who hasn't visited the Facebook page before, it is just FOB Equestria. So just look for it, same way our YouTube channel is, and you should be able to find it without any difficulty. And Brony Joe, I know you had something you want to bring up for... Well, actually, no, I do want to elaborate before we go on to the next thing about how staff kind of works. So staff members do typically have an assigned position, kind of, but it's similar to the military in that, your job is not all you do. And what I mean by that is oftentimes staff members branch out and do other projects and contribute to other things. It's why, someone might be... an artist on the staff, but they make an appearance on a panel or they branch out. Why you see a lot of us kind of wearing many hats in a sense, and it is just kind of how fluid the staff is. So at the moment,
we call those additional duties, otherwise known as additional dicking.
Yeah, but the thing is, on the staff, on FOB Equestria, it's not mandated. It's not required of you. So in the future, when we do start trying to build ourselves back up and start recruiting staff again for specific positions, we really need someone dedicated to doing email management and help being the postman, quote unquote. But that's something we're going to get around to sending out kind of notifications on once we get a website up and running, which I'm personally pursuing right now. I mean, I'm not a web manager, but I've kind of taken on the task of sorting this out and trying to figure out how we're going to get our website back up and running. And once it is, we'll start putting like kind of like notices out saying, hey, we're looking for a staff member to fill this position. But at the same time, if that staff member wanted to help organize panels or con events, or, you know, they want to be in a video that the staff is putting together or something like that, they would be more than welcome. They can make an appearance on a podcast or maybe even run a podcast if I'm not available for a week or something. So it's, again, we wear many hats. So we definitely are a bit short on staff at the moment who are kind of, like I said, we need things like our postman. We probably need a dedicated YouTube mod. I kind of do that at the moment to an extent. I do check our messages from time to time. I'm actually in the process of filing a lot of legal stuff in terms of, okay, so I guess this is a good segue.
You check the YouTube messages.
Huh? I
said you check the YouTube messages.
I do, and I read comments of the podcasts for sure. They're easy to keep up with.
Yeah.
And that's just so we can actually have a good idea of what people are talking about and maybe bring it up in discussion, which I'm actually starting a new segment on podcasts called Comments Corner, or I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but I'm just going to currently use that name as a placeholder. But going back to the YouTube thing, so there's been a few questions about like what happened to the season 5 premiere react. Like, did you guys take it down and all that fun stuff? And I'm just like, oh no, that got hit with copyright. Apparently it got blocked everywhere. It's not the first video we've had get hit with like copyright claim.
Thanks, Hasbro.
Yeah, thanks, Hasbro. But I mean, they're just defending their intellectual property. You can't fault them for that. That's their job. But at the same time, it is all fair use. So it's fair use is fair game. It's something that we have to actually purposefully pursue and dispute and actually kind of like say, hey, no, this is legal. You have no right to claim this because it falls under fair use, under commentary criticism. And through that, it is our own kind of work. So the dispute for the season 5 premiere has been filed, and I've actually kind of taken on responsibility for one by one. I'm going to be filing disputes for all our videos that have those kind of claims on them. And there's a lot of them because, I mean, we use a lot of show content for commentary criticism, which, I mean, the most common series for that is taking ponies too seriously. But at the same time, got to be careful because if I file too many disputes at once, we could get hit with several copyright strikes at the same time because that's usually how it goes. You have to like follow the process the whole way through. And usually at some point in that process, while fighting to get your fair use recognized, you will be hit with a copyright strike, which will be later revoked. It will be removed from your channel. But if you get hit with too many at once, your channel gets shut down. So you kind of got to be careful in how you pursue it.
And we don't want that.
No, we don't. So we're definitely working on that for sure. Brony Joe, you don't really have much experience in this. You're just kind of listening at the moment, I assume, because unless you have something to add, I don't know. I'm assuming you don't have much knowledge or experience in this sort of thing.
Yeah, my job is to post the pictures of the ponies with guns.
Yeah, which unfortunately you can't really do right now since the
which right now I have no job, so it's like,
yeah,
wow, all this free time.
I am now Joe's boss.
I guess that's something.
Me and Joe switched places.
What was that, Scarlett?
I said me and Joe switched places.
Oh yeah, because you're actively managing the Facebook group now. You've kind of like fallen into that role of Facebook moderator, and I mean, and also to an extent, you've started managing the Twitter as well, right?
Yes, I have, because no one else manages it. So I'm like, okay, I'll just check on Twitter. We used to have
people doing it, but we actually never had anyone dedicated assigned to it. It was just like Brony Joe put it, an additional duty. Like no one ever was assigned a position, like given that quote unquote job. I mean, let's be clear here. This isn't a job for us. We're all doing this in our free time for no pay. This is a hobby, and so. At the same time, everyone else was kind of like devoted to their own specific job, their own specific assignment within the FOB Equestria staff, and then pursuing their own projects. And some people would occasionally follow up with the Twitter and Facebook on the side, but it was never really delegated. So I think that's kind of why it's fallen by the wayside so much. And there's a lot of potential positions to fill. I'm kind of like making a mental list, and I should probably make it a physical list here soon. Of where we actually need people just to better manage things. I'm trying to breathe. Like, the FOB has always kind of been a living, breathing sort of entity, like, that has its spurts of activity, and then it goes into kind of like a hibernation, sort of. And I'm trying to make it a bit more like a well-oiled machine here through my own personal endeavors, and hopefully get things running a bit more smoothly, just because, again, it's a hobby for us. It's all contingent on our free time, and that's not a bad thing, like, for us. I mean, that's understandable and kind of necessary, but at the same time, I feel like a bit more organization could probably go a long way to helping things flow and become a little bit more consistent. Obviously, you're still going to have fluctuations, but hopefully we can mitigate it. And, so, Joe, I do put forward to you the idea of maybe posting pictures with ponies with guns to the Facebook. Do you have the Facebook group information?
I know it exists. Don't have any sort of...
You have to get added by Michelle, because Michelle's the one who...
I think, couldn't I add him too, since I'm technically a moderator for that page?
Yeah, I don't have any special privileges.
Possibly. Honestly, you'd have to ask Michelle about that.
Right. Okay. But Joe, how would you, like, I know you said you kind of enjoying your free time and such, but like, how would you feel about maybe stepping into that role while the website is down, instead of like doing one master post that's really long and kind of like filled with tons of pictures, maybe just like doing a couple pictures every once in a while to the Facebook page just to promote content there?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so we'll sort that out after this, and maybe put you back to work for a little bit and give you something to do. Yeah, and but I do know at the same time you spend a lot of time in the FOB chat, the community chat, and probably some of the other sub chats that have come up through the Skype groups. And again, let me put out to anyone listening to this, if you want to join the Skype chat, definitely send us an email, or maybe even send us a message to our YouTube channel. Just get in contact with us. Our email is in the description below this video, but just giving us your Skype username and we'll add you to the group eventually. I can't promise it'll be expedient, but you will for sure eventually be added. I do have to caution you about leaving a comment in the section below, however, just because I really only keep up with comments in the most recent podcast. So yeah, chances are if you put it in an older one, I won't see it.
Yeah, but, plus you also don't want to put your Skype and all in the comments. Yeah,
actually, no, that's a really good point, Scarlett. So personal message on YouTube channel or email. That is the safe way. Got to protect that.
Because you don't want, like, somebody creeping on you. Like, I've recently had someone just creep on me this week on Skype, and I'm like, okay, I don't know you, block.
Well, here's the thing. I never add anyone as a contact on Skype unless I know them. And I occasionally get, like, what I assume are spam invites for contact requests on Skype. And I just ignore it. Because most of the time it says, hi, Spangles, whatever. I want to add you as a contact on Skype, but it doesn't provide any information like, hi, I met you at this place and you said to add you on Skype. It's like, usually when I send a Skype request to someone, I say who I am and why I'm sending them the request, just to jog their memory and be like, oh, I remember this person, I'll add them. I never send the default response. I mean, the default invite.
Like, I asked, like, the person who recently sent me a message, I'm like, who is this? And she's like, oh, I just randomly found your name in the Skype dictionary. I'm just adding people to be friends with. So, like, okay, I don't know you. Delete.
Yeah, and you know what? That's awesome. For people who want to socialize like that, that's that's fine. You know what? That's their prerogative. But for me personally, if I don't know you and if you don't specify who you are when you send me a Skype request, I probably won't add you to my friends list, because Skype really is for me keeping in contact with, like, people I consider friends, like people I've already met and know. So, but like I was saying, Brony Joe, you're pretty active with the Skype groups. I mean, more active than me, but that's not hard to do considering I don't like Skype, and therefore I am hardly ever on Skype. But I do know you have some other projects you're pursuing right now in reference to the Skype group. And if you want to talk about that a little bit, now is your time.
As a matter of fact, yes. If you join the Skype group, one of the things that we started up is a Secret Santa. Right now, we've got a organized, even number list of people who are getting gifts for each other. But if you join the Skype group, and if enough extra people join in, they want to take part, they can absolutely do that. Just join the Skype group, message me, Brony Joe, saying, hey, I want to do the Secret Santa, and we'll get things organized and sorted out. Just a good way to get to know each other, talk to somebody, find out, what they like, what they don't, and get them a little something. Doesn't have to be crazy over the top, like buy them $100 gift. You can get something small. You can make them something, draw them a picture, stitch a stocking, what have you. It's just a way to help get everybody to know each other.
Building community, right? That kind of sort of thing. I mean, that's very admirable. And that's something that I think is a really good idea and a good project. And it's, like you said, it's all about just kind of building community there. So, yeah, I am behind that idea 100%. I think it's good you specified it doesn't have to be over the top or ridiculous, but also for anyone listening, it is important to take note that he did specify you have to join the Skype group in order to do this, just because that's where it's being organized. And to be clear, the Skype group is not exclusive to military members. I know we say we're home of the military bronies, and we try and keep a decent amount of military members on staff. We will recruit members like Scarlett here who are civilians.
Yay.
And to help us out with staff things. But for a lot of the more military oriented tasks in the staff, when it comes to, like, for us in the literature division, which is on hiatus at the moment, because when I went kind of on my leave of absence, Dizzy took over, and now he is resigned. But at the same time, it's kind of hard to do literature division stuff, fanfic reviews, when you don't have a website on which to post them.
And Red was also...
And Red was also staff for that, and he also resigned. So we are kind of short on literature people at the moment, but we're also looking to change up that format. Maybe make them into a video review of sort. But, I mean, I've kind of reassumed my old title as head of literature here. So it's really up to me at this point to make anything happen. And not saying I am the one to pass judgment. I'm saying if something's going to happen, no one else is going to do it. And I'm really the one responsible for success or failure here. But what was my point? Oh, yeah, military perspective. So for a lot of things, when it comes to doing reviews or reacts to like military things like the Wonderbolt Academy episode, we really do find it a bit more valuable to have people participating in those sort of things who have military background and experience to interject. So certainly helps.
Like Black Griffin.
Yeah, Black Griffin for sure. So otherwise known as Gabe, but that is his real name, and not a lot of people in this community refer to each other by real names. I mean, even when interacting face to face. So, and you know what? There's nothing wrong with nicknames. It's a bit more endearing and it's a bit more personal anyway. So, such is the way of things.
Yeah, unless you're Brony Joe.
Oh, wait. I assumed Joe was your real name, but I could be wrong there. I've never actually asked you.
Well done. Promoted to captain.
Promote immediately to captain? Is that what you said? Cut out for me a little bit, buddy. So you're gonna have to help me out here.
Yes. Well done.
Well done.
Promote immediate to captain.
Gone from enlisted to officer in the span of a few seconds. Yeah.
All you had to do was obvious.
Yeah, I'm personal endeavors wise, I am currently actually trying to make that happen, but I won't bore anyone with details. I'm just saying that's where my interests are. Just because, well, many reasons. Again, neither the time nor the place, I feel. I do want to bring up...
Hope you love paperwork.
It depends on what I get as an officer job, my friend. Which actually...
He wants all the butter.
No, I hope you love paperwork.
Well, yeah. It's not
officer, like... the key word is office.
I've actually... You're the first person I've ever heard say that, but that is accurate. You want to know what I am no stranger to? Paperwork. Because the Air Force lives off of it, and it breathes off of it. And you want to know what aircrafts have a lot of? Aircrafts have a lot of paperwork, a lot of forms that need to be filled out properly to properly document maintenance. So...
You know what else you're not stranger to?
No kidding. So does Patriot. Huh.
You know what else you're not a stranger to, Spangle?
Do I want to know?
The chair.
The chair? In my job,
Air
I am.
Force!
In my job, I
Pilot cease
am.
fire.
Shots fired. But, no, okay, so for those who don't know, I do work in aircraft maintenance, and it is a very on-your-feet job a lot of the time, just because you're out working on the airframe, and usually the only place you're sitting is, for me, right now I'm working on A-10s, and so a lot of times you spend time sitting in the engine itself doing maintenance. And for the intake, whenever you have to mess with the fan blades or anything like that, anything up in the nose section of the turbine engine. So, but no, you're right. A lot of the Air Force is office jobs, chair jobs. In fact, I don't think I know what your job in the Air Force. Wait, you're not. Are you Air Force Joe? I know you're.
He's Army.
That's. I was gonna say.
Not only no, but
Not only
fuck no.
But really now. Come on, same flight, same team.
Hey, ironically, you probably actually get more time on your feet than I do, even though I'm in the Army, because as an air defense artillery officer, that makes me eligible to be a tactical control officer, which is the guy who helps run an air battle. So that job consists of sitting in a chair in front of a computer with graphics worse than a fucking Atari and pushing buttons and talking to the higher echelon saying, hey, we got on scope and there's a thing coming towards our asset. And
Yeah, mine's definitely a lot more.
I don't even get to push the button to fire the missile. That's the enlisted dude's job. I just make sure he does it at the right time and on the right target.
I'm sorry, you don't even get the fun job of pushing the pretty button to make things go boom.
And the
No, I
Navy-
don't. And there is also a printer in there, which means there is paperwork inside the van too. So
I'm so sorry for you. But Patriot missile system is what I think I heard you say earlier, right?
indeed.
I'm vaguely familiar with that system. I've just never had a need to really look into it, but I am aware. It's like you said, air defense artillery, so that kind of field.
As far as you're concerned, it exists and it does its job. A lot of it's actually very classified.
Oh yeah, I know.
As old as it is, it's still like one of the only few battle tested and proven surface to air guided missile systems in the world.
Hey, as an aircraft mechanic working on airfields in combat zones, danger zones, I appreciate systems like that essentially keep us covered, keep us safe while we fix the aircraft that then go out and blow things up. So definitely appreciative of those systems for sure.
Oh, stop. Oh, stop it, you.
See, it all comes together. Same fight, same team, baby. It all just comes together to one unbeatable force.
Are you trying to be
Patriotism.
Hua? Don't be Hua.
He is trying to be Moto
Patriotism.
right now.
Hey,
I'm gonna have to ask you to cut the moto back a bit.
All right.
Just a couple notches.
We all know I bleed a little bit, so it's all right. It's all right. I bleed a little bit for the military, so it's. I mean, I kind of gotta have that pride, honestly, to get through all the BS, all the cynicism. I mean, I kind of have to have a little bit of it, otherwise I'd get burnt out and just hate my life way too much because there is so much just hassle and bullshit and just, oh my goodness, you've got to have a little motivation, a little patriotism there. Otherwise,
it's not really the patriotism that gets me through it. It's laughter, just pointing and laughing at stupid things or watching a silly video on YouTube. That's what gets me through the day.
You know what? I think I can see that perspective. And honestly, that's why a lot of us enjoy shows like My Little Pony, too, is just to kind of balance things out a bit and give us that laughter and, help us through the day. So, speaking of the show, so did you actually watch that deleted scene, Joe, or did you kind of just not really?
I got about halfway through it, then I'm like, wait, why am I watching this? I don't watch Horse Girls, period. And
Horse Girls. So judgmental.
Turn it off.
For a man who watches ponies.
Push your girls. I Are we going to talk about the movie? Or
No, well, here's the thing. Joe doesn't watch it, and I haven't gotten around to it simply because I'm talking with Josh right now about the possibility of having him and his staff work on the React. And once I get confirmation that we have editors willing to do it, I'm going to record a React for it, and we'll see who else we can get to participate and get him all the material and hopefully have it out within a month. So we'll see. But
I just say, just do it. Just watch it.
well,
Just do it.
Going back to the discussion on hand, you kind of brought this to my attention at first, but I didn't watch it until someone in the DC Brony group, my voice is failing me a little bit right now, actually made a post about it on their Facebook page, which is this deleted scene with a song from the friendship games that didn't quite make it, again, hence deleted scene. And I don't know, I kind of liked it. I like this.
Actually, the song did make it. It's a different version of the song.
Okay, see, having not seen the movie yet, I don't know this. But thank you for clarifying. Yeah, that's why you're here, Scarlett, to help minimize my stupidity, or at least correct my stupidity to an extent. When it comes to things like this, which I am currently unknowledgeable about. I mean, that's why I have... That's kind of like a side job of my friends, is help to mitigate my stupidity, and I try and help them in return when they do something that I know better, or say something that I know better about. See, friends help each other. That's just kind of what it comes down to.
No, you're not stupid. You're just misinformed. There's a difference.
You're right. There is a difference, but I seldom
He hasn't seen the movie yet. You can't blame him.
I mean, it's just, my own tendencies to be overly critical of myself, so I tend to phrase things a bit more harshly than they should when it comes to knocking me down a peg, I guess. Just poking fun at myself, because you can't take yourself too seriously. But anyway, so the song made it in.
God, no.
Yeah, I know, right? Exactly. See, Joe gets it. The song, I don't know, I kind of like the song because I felt like I related to it on a personal level. Because it's talking about, like, getting out there and exploring and, like, finding your purpose in the world sort of thing. Is that the kind of impression you got from it, Scarlett?
Sorry, what?
I'm talking about the song. Did you not hear what I said?
No, I did. I got a message from somebody.
Oh, so you were distracted. I see.
Yes, I got distracted. ADHD at its work.
So I thought the deleted scene was pretty good. I mean, it was an animatic, so it was kind of... It was obviously unfinished. But I still thought it was pretty good. It went well with the song. And I really just kind of liked the song itself more than the scene. I mean, the scene was nice, but the theme of the song really struck me on a personal chord because it was really about just getting out there, exploring, finding your purpose, like feeling that you're meant for something elsewhere and like pursuing your dreams and like following your heart sort of thing. And for a person who's kind of been a lot of places doing that, I mean, I have been everywhere from, first thing I did when I graduated high school was I went out to Colorado and was out there with the Air Force Academy for a while. And then things happened there. And I went enlisted and I ended up in Texas and Arkansas and I deployed to Afghanistan. And I have just been kind of everywhere, both through personal pursuits and through career pursuits. And so getting out there and kind of discovering your whole drive and your kind of dreams and following that, like, that's kind of the vibe I got from the song. And having been someone who's been striving to do that for most of his life at this point, at least most of his adult life, it really did strike a chord with me. And I was wondering if, like, that was kind of the impression you got from the song, or maybe you got something else from it.
That is basically what I got from it. Granted, I have actually listened to the newer version, which is in the movie. I like the deleted one better. Like, honestly, I feel like that was a bad call.
Oh, and for anyone curious about the scene we're talking about, we'll probably put that. No, being the person who's going to upload the video, I'll definitely put that in the description below. And if I forget to, call me out in the comments, because I will see that. And I will rectify the situation. But
I'll remember it.
yeah, you're kind of my secretary at times, aren't you?
Not just yours, but Michelle's also on a daily basis.
Well, I mean, it helps.
I'm just I'm the house secretary.
Yeah, you kind of are. But Joe, I know Horse Girls isn't really your thing, but you said you watched a little bit of it, and besides being Horse Girls, did you have any other thoughts on it? Did we lose Joe?
Oh, just kidding. More like I had it on in the background, and I will say this about it. The singing was definitely good because it didn't make me want to turn it off. I just had it on in the background. Wait a second. Wait, this video's going. I'm not even watching it because I don't even care because I haven't seen Horse Girl, so I just turned it off, and I'm like, just going to watch a new episode of Pony instead.
Yes. Okay. And fair enough. I mean, not all of us can get behind Horse Girls. And I was very skeptical at first, and honestly, I don't really think it's anything to go crazy over, but I think they're decently done. At least the the first two movies I've seen so far. Like I said, I haven't seen the third. But like you said, you watch the new episode instead, and I've seen it, and Scarlett's seen it. But we'll get to that a little bit later. I kind of want to save that for last, because I want to avoid talking about that in spoilers until we've kind of just covered a few other topics. And that way, if people want to stop watching the video at that point to avoid spoilers, they can. And they
Did we talk about last week's episode like we were going to?
I haven't seen last week's episode yet. I'm missing like 3 episodes right now from the season, and that's one of them. But
shame.
Get your shit together.
I will.
Shame.
I'll have everything watched by next podcast. You mark my words. But
basically tomorrow?
Huh? No. This counts as this weekend's podcast.
Okay.
Much shame. Very none. Wow.
So, yeah. But anyway, getting on to that comment corner section of the podcast, like I said, I don't know what I'm really going to call it yet. That's just a placeholder name. But there were a couple comments that caught my attention in last week's podcast. And okay, so my policy on this right now, and you guys, I want to get your input on this, see if you agree or disagree with my thinking. But I don't really want to put usernames of people. Like, I don't want to name names per se. For privacy, because I don't want people to go out and find these and like harass these people or like put it out there when they wanted to remain anonymous or anything like that. And at the same time, I don't want to promote fame grabbing. Like, if I start naming names, people are going to purposely like start trying to get themselves inserted in there so they can get like their name out there and all that stuff. And finally, like,
we have a leg playing
like my channel.
Yeah. And
I got a name.
The other reason is for shaming. Like, if someone makes a kind of inflammatory comment or anything like that, like, I don't want to name shame them. I don't want to like attach a name to something that we might end up bashing because we disagree with it or because they were trolling or inflammatory or anything like that. So, do you guys think the anonymous aspect of this is a good policy? Do you agree with me or do you disagree?
Yay. It's good.
Yay.
Okay, so I got some consensus here. That's good. So, first comment that caught my attention was last podcast. We were talking about the GI Bill at some point, apparently, I guess. I don't recall how it came up, but someone made the comment, GI Bill, the sequel to G.I. Joe. And I was just like, really?
Oh, I remember why GI Bill came up. It's because I was poking fun at Josh for doing his homework.
Oh, right. But I was just like, it did make me laugh. And Brony Joe apparently is clapping in the background.
A sarcastic, quiet clap.
Oh, it's a golf clap. It's a golf clap. Got it. But that kind of pun on words, honestly, it's the first time I've ever heard that one. And it did get a good chuckle out of me. So I just want to give attention to that person's clever little spin.
Congratulations, Spangle thinks you should be a comedian.
Well, let's put it this way. I don't have the best sense of humor. people constantly hate me for my sense of humor and my tendency to make terrible, awful puns, like, almost on a daily basis when I'm around them. So, yeah, maybe not use my endorsement as a reason to get into comedy. Just putting that disclaimer there.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't. Maybe listen to Joe. He is an officer and obviously knows better. Just gonna let that one hang out there.
No, we're not saying that because I'm an officer. I'm saying that because just don't quit your day job. You're not funny.
Ouch. See, again, don't want to shame people's names.
Hey, you put me in the corner. I fucking had to drop the bomb, all right?
All right.
I had to.
All right. So,
Shots fired!
there was also a comment. There was actually a whole string of discussions around this one comment, where someone had apparently put forward the perception that we only do reacts to military episodes. Someone was actually suggesting we do a react to something, and someone was like, they only do reacts to military things, which I can understand where that perception comes from. But, and we talked about this a little bit earlier in the podcast, if you recall, was that military kind of perspective that we'd like to bring to things with military kind of themes like Wonderbolt Academy. However, I mean, if you just look at our channel, we did Military Bronies react to the Teens react to My Little Pony, so that wasn't military themed. We did a react to the season 5 premiere, which wasn't military themed. So we do definitely, we like to do reacts to things with the military sort of theme because, well, we have that perspective and that kind of input and background to really give it a spin and give kind of insight that other reactors wouldn't have. But at the same time, we will do reacts to random things. Like we kind of said earlier here, I think it might have been brought up, we're currently kind of spinning the wheels to see if we're going to do a Friendship Games react, which at this point is highly dependent on a lot of things coming together. So I wouldn't get your hopes up until you hear something definitive. But our process for doing reacts is kind of like, oh, there's interest in this. Yeah, sure. Why not? We got people who want to do it, and they'll probably be well received because people want to see it. So yeah, let's do it. There's really no formula to it. I'm sorry.
Weren't we working on a react for the 100th episode?
But then it got scrapped.
Yeah, so I can't
got scrapped. I had such a good joke on that one too. Damn it!
I know. Same here.
It's so apparently I can't remember who made the final call to scrap it, but it was getting delayed for far too long.
Saunter.
Okay,
Saunter's the one because he's the one who took it on. Saunter was the one who took it on.
Yeah, essentially after so many delays, we felt it was no longer relevant, and decided that just because the amount of time that had passed and the amount of work that still needed to get done, and the projected soonest published date, like the soonest we would be able to get it edited, uploaded, and on our channel, it would have been way too much time, and no one would have really wanted to see it. It basically would have just been... it was just decided it wasn't worth it. So we'll see if we can get the wheels moving on this Friendship Games one. I'm kind of pushing it to see if it can happen. But yeah, reacts, they are typically well received for our channel. They typically get a lot of views. I mean, we said last week that our Wonderbolts Academy one got like over 100,000, right, Scarlett? Can you verify that I'm right?
Over 500,000.
Okay, thank you. See, I was completely wrong again. But that's why I have friends. And so, just to clarify, the Wonderbolts Academy one also got a copyright kind of claim, but it wasn't blocked or taken down like the Season 5 premiere was. It was just claimed and therefore monetized for the claimant. But we, like I said earlier, going to be filing a whole bunch of disputes over the course of the next, let's be honest, it's probably going to be like a year because each claim and dispute usually takes 1 to 2 months to fully see through. So it'll be a while before I can get through all the videos and get everything sorted.
And didn't some of the taking ponies too seriously videos get the same thing?
Yep, a lot of them did. So I'm going to be fighting a lot of copyright battles here in the next, I mean, let's be honest, it's probably going to be a year before every single one is said and done. But
One more thing about the whole perception that we only react to military episodes. Forgive us if we tend to be a little bit military oriented when it's all our fucking jobs.
Well, not all of our jobs, but a lot of our jobs, because you got to take people like Scarlett here into account. But
yeah, she's unemployed. Oh!
Ouch! Ouch! Hard.
Hey! I work at home, okay? I clean up after these two. So essentially, I'm a maid.
Got him!
Get out of here, shave your ass!
Apparently,
I hate you.
I'm not going there. I'm not touching that.
I win.
Wait, which one? Me yelled at Mache or Joe?
I'm just gonna like valve silence for all of it.
Hold on. I'll be right back. I need to kill a motherfucker.
Okay.
I win. You have to catch me first.
No, I think she's talking about Mache.
I'm talking about Mache. He just came in here and staked up my whole room. I'll be right back.
Okay. I don't want to know. Don't want to know. I might be in the same household as them, but do not want to know. If I hear cries for help, like someone screaming bloody murder and someone's about to die, I might need to leave. But otherwise, I will stay right here. And so anyway, anything else you want to say on the military react sort of perception, Joe, or just about reacts in general?
No.
Well, and seeing as Scarlett is currently indisposed, I am just going to bring up the next comment. And if you guys have any suggestions for what you think I should call it, this kind of little segment on the podcast, feel free to put it out there for sure. And I will give everything due consideration. Who knows? I might not choose yours, but it might give me the kind of like idea, the memory, like kind of like the inspiration, to term it that way, to come up with something else. But anyway, so last video we talked about the possibility of doing FOB Equestria PSAs. And someone made a comment on that saying, would you all do a PSA about turn signal? No one on the road uses their damn turn signal. And
that is especially true here in Korea. Oh my god.
I am back.
Okay, to reiterate for Scarlett, we were talking about the fact that we brought up the possibility of PSA videos, which I would probably be hitting up for the most part. It would probably be my projects for the FOB channel. And someone made a comment last video about how asking if we could do a turn signal PSA, because no one on the roads anywhere seems to use their turn signal ever. I mean, I personally do.
I saw this comment. The person who wrote that comment, I love you.
Okay, so apparently Scarlett's...
So they want us...
Go ahead.
So they want us to do a PSA encouraging people to use their turn signals?
Maybe.
Yes.
But I have a feeling they would probably want it to be a little bit more comedic, in a sense, probably a bit more satire, like showing the quote-unquote value of not having to use your turn signal ever, and like just...
So here's my suggestion then. Why don't you, instead of encouraging people to use their turn signals, just acknowledge the fact that people are lazy, and be aware and pay attention to your surroundings and quit being a bitch and enjoy the fun moments of excitement when somebody fucking cuts out without their turn signal on. It's like, oh my god! And it's like you're in an action movie and it's free entertainment. You're complaining about free entertainment. Get over it.
Life advice and the smackdown from Brony Joe. Damn. Telling it like it is.
I think if we did the video, we should definitely show how to use a turn signal, like how to switch it on and everything.
Step 1, don't touch it. Keep driving.
You're one of those assholes, aren't you, Joe? Oh wait,
Korea's changed me.
Korea has changed. Well, an overseas experience in general can change you, for sure.
I was about to say, oh wait, he is, because I've been in the car with Joe.
This I was not aware of, but you've been in the car with me, Scarlett, too, and you can vouch that I always use my turn signal, even when it's not necessary.
Yes, you and Mache always use your turn signal, because otherwise I will bitch at you guys. Joe actually got a little bit of a bitch fit from me when he came to visit me before he left.
Bitch fit, which I'm sure I probably ignored.
You did.
See?
Yeah.
The relationship works perfectly.
When he was driving around in a bug.
Hey, talk all the shit you want. That thing had amazing gas mileage, and it had stellar acceleration. Because it's a freaking go-kart.
Sounds about right. I had to.
It's the weight of a go-kart with like just a normal car engine put in it, but just because it's so light, it
Power
just
to weight
takes
ratio.
off.
Yeah, power to weight ratio.
I'm passing motherfuckers left and right on the interstate, and it's just like you get fucking dunked on by my ass.
Yeah, this was before I almost got kicked out of the Marine Corps Museum.
Do I want to know?
Oh yeah, that. It's because she decided. It's because she decided to wear her "Fuck the Westboro Baptist Church" T-shirt.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I wore that shirt because when Joe came to visit me, Joe got me that shirt for my birthday last year. So I'm like, hey, you know what? I gotta wear it. He got it for me.
You know,
She decides to wear it to a museum, though, which
Yeah.
usually tries to keep a good reputation about itself, one of tastefulness.
Well, you know, they should put a sign saying no vulgar language or pictures, whatever.
That is an issue of your social skills.
oh snap! But
It's called I have the right to wear what I want.
freedom of expression.
It's called, yeah, and it's also called being tasteful, because you know that even though you have the right to wear what you want, people don't approve and they can get offended by what you wear. So
Wait,
you
I
have to
actually
cater
had-
to their tastes
I
and their
actually had
values every
security.
now and then.
I had security guards saying they wish I hadn't have had to take the shirt off because they love my shirt.
Yes, but they do at the same time.
I
just
loved
right.
it too. I loved it too, but this is the world we live in. Gotta be respectful. It's give and take.
Yes, Joe makes a great point, because you got to keep in mind this is a military museum, a Marine Corps museum. They want to try and maintain a certain level of professionalism and a certain image of professionalism. And it's while they may agree with your shirt, as I'm sure many of them do, considering they still have to, again, abide by those sort of social rules and those social standards. So it sucks, but it's understandable for sure.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, my shirt, it doesn't have a U. It's got the crosshairs, so it looks like an O. I even asked because it's censored. They said it's not censored enough.
No, Helen Keller could determine that it was supposed to be the word fuck.
Well put. Yeah, it was censored is a gray area, because
Scarlett, you're being butthurt. Don't be butthurt.
I am being a little salty about it.
No, you're not being salty. You're being butthurt.
there's a difference.
Yeah, I didn't know there was a difference.
I want to hear Joe's explanation here, please.
Salty, you're just an asshole and you don't give a fuck, and it's just like, you know what? I've been through this shit. I know it's fucking dumb and you gotta keep fucking doing it, and I just can't wait to be done with it. Butthurt is, it made me take a hair off. I should be able to wear it.
Okay? Then I'm the civilian salty, okay? I'm at the civilian level of salty.
Oh yeah, another word for being a bitch. Whereas in the military, it's a compliment. Good, you're
Fuck
so
you.
salty. Thanks.
Cynicism. Cynicism is the salt that makes the military tasteful. Like tasty. I don't know how. I'm gonna stop this metaphor because it is terrible.
Your tears are delicious.
Tears are delicious, though. Anyway, now that we have thoroughly explored that whole concept, I feel, let us go.
What were we
on.
talking about?
We
Turn
were-
signals?
Yeah, I know. Here, we were talking about PSAs and stuff, and then it was talking about, somehow we got on the subject of the shirt. And, oh yeah, you were talking about when Scarlett was driving around with you and how she was wearing that shirt and how you drove to the military, the Marine
And
Corps
now we're
Museum.
going back to off topic here.
I'm just connecting the dots.
PSAs.
I'm just connecting the dots,
PSA.
people.
Yes, there's nothing wrong with that.
But I'm sure anyone I'm pretty sure there were a few people who were like, how did we get here? I'm sure we were not alone. But tangents are standard for the podcast. I mean, at least my podcasts. I enjoy a little bit of chaos.
If you want to know how we got here, that's what the rewind is for.
Just backtrack the last 5 minutes.
But anyway, we are coming up short on time, so without further ado, spoiler alert, we are going to be talking about the new episode that aired this weekend, which is October 3rd, 2015. So if you haven't seen the new episode, it is Brotherhood, Social was what it was called, right?
Brother Hooves Social, yeah. I believe.
Yeah, okay, so if you want to avoid spoilers, definitely just pause the video for now until you go see it. But we will be doing a discussion for that probably for the rest of the video, and then we're going to wrap it up and do our standard closing and final thoughts. So probably, I just advise you go watch it and then come back if you want to hear the final thoughts and hear our analysis. But anyway, without further ado, let's get on it. Who wants to start with your thoughts?
Okay, totally called Big Mac dressing in drag like 4 minutes into the episode. Totally called it, and it wasn't as creepy as I thought it was going to be. Like, I'm thinking, oh god, I know where this is going, but it wasn't as bad. And maybe it's because I've met Peter New in real life, and so
awesome.
I just got so much admiration, and I love the dude. He's a great actor. He's a great dude, and it was just entertaining seeing him putting himself in that role. And I always love it when people go, I do declare. Because I'm basic and I'm a Yankee.
Yeah, I will have to say I agree, because I have met Peter New in person as well, and just, I don't know, somehow like being aware of his real life personality and his shenanigans, which he occasionally pulls related to My Little Pony, somehow made this episode a bit more endearing, just because you don't typically see Big Mac be able to have that many lines. And
yeah, I don't think we've ever seen him have not only this much screen time, but this much lines ever since the Hearts and Hose Day episode from season 2.
There was the what episode? I forget the name of it, but it was with the Treble Tones.
Oh yeah, I don't remember the name of that episode either.
Milli Vanilli, that's what it was.
Yeah,
that one.
That one, exactly. But overall, I thought it was a very good episode, very endearing. I felt very sad for Big Mac at the beginning of it, just because it was just like, it's like so obvious what's going on with him. And, AJ is the best sister, because, I mean, just the way she recognizes something's off and, like, immediately goes to console her big brother too. She is just all around being a good sister, and I can't fault her for that. It's not her fault that Apple Bloom is just being a little kid. I mean, that's what Apple Bloom is doing in this episode, is just being, a child who isn't quite aware of how her actions and words affect those around her, and she learns that through this episode. So I thought it was a very good growth episode for Apple Bloom too. So what did you think, Scarlett? You there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. I was wondering, I thought you had something to say, so I was giving you some time to interject.
I love Mrs. Macfire.
Yeah, that's a... For those who don't get the reference, that is a Mrs. Doubtfire reference, an old Robin Williams movie. If you haven't seen it, go watch it.
That's also what I was going to say. The direction given to him in the script was Mrs. Doubtfire.
Really?
I'm willing to bet.
Oh, okay.
I'm willing to bet, because that's what I was really thinking of. Like, if Peter New just did a country version of Mrs. Doubtfire, that's cousin. What was her name?
Orchard Blossom.
Orchard Blossom. Yes.
Yeah, Orchard Blossom.
Well, if you between 18 and 20 minutes, there is I forget what time slot. There is a legit Mrs. Doubtfire quote in there.
Really? Well, then, obviously, if that's the case, I mean, I don't see how they wouldn't make that reference. I mean, let's be honest, references have become more and more blatant in the show.
It's fan service.
It is quite a bit of fan service. I mean, you can argue in earlier seasons, they were kind of blatant, because you had the what's the movie I'm trying to think of right now with the dude? What's that movie called?
Big Lebowski.
Big Lebowski. Thank you. I love that movie. I just had a momentary brain short circuit. I can't think. When they had that bowling scene episode, you know, when they were in the bowling alley and they showed them, like
The Jesus pony.
yeah, I mean, they've had some pretty obvious references in the past, but they weren't as persistent. They weren't as frequent as they are now. So it could be argued that they aren't any more blatant, but it could be argued that they are being a bit more frequent and possibly forced. I mean, do you guys agree? Or disagree? Do you think it's? Do you think my analysis of that is a little off, or mostly on point?
It's on point.
I mean, I think it's hard to really sell anything nowadays without throwing in a couple of pop culture references. It just seems to be the way that things are done now. As annoying as it can be, that's just how it is.
Yeah, fair enough.
This episode was written by Dave Polsky, so he knew what he was doing.
I don't really follow too much. I mean, I'm aware of who the writers are, but I don't really keep tally of who does what episodes, honestly. So
Yeah,
it's hard for me to say.
what other episodes has he done?
He did Troubleshoes, which I feel this episode was a what's the word? When you a redeeming episode from Troubleshoes. Yeah, I knew if I thought about it, a redeeming episode from Troubleshoes this season. But he also did Over a Barrel.
Yeah, Over a Barrel. Over a Barrel definitely had its moments. It was one of the episodes I wasn't like super fond of, but I didn't dislike it. I thought it was pretty good.
He wrote For Whom the Sweetie Belle Toils.
Did he?
I can get behind that episode for sure.
Yeah, I can too.
Yeah, I think I've heard a lot of people having issues with the Trouble Who's episode. I can't recall what that episode was named though. I'm drawing a blank on that episode name, but we all know which one we're talking about here.
Appaloosa's Most Wanted.
Okay, yeah. So, but we all knew what episode we were talking about, and I've heard a lot of criticism of that episode, but overall, I didn't think it was too bad. I thought it was a decent episode.
I mean, here's the standard that I hold episodes to is the season 3 standard, which is, did it make me want to not want to be a brony anymore? And so far, I think the only episode in this current season that has come close to that is Canterlot Boutique, because holy crap.
Not a Rarity fan?
Fucking Sassy Saddles. No, I love Rarity. I love Marshmallow Horse. But Sassy Saddles, holy shit. She annoying? I was praying to God that she was going to be a villain with like some demented plot to take over Canterlot Boutique so she could do something evil to help take over Equestria or whatever, just so she could get killed or punched and kicked and hurt in some way. I was praying very desperately for that. That episode was rescued by... The episode was rescued by Hindenburg Pony. Is there even a name for her yet?
I don't think so. Well, not that I'm aware of.
Oh, you mean Depend-A-Pony?
Depend-A-Pony.
That's a military joke if I've ever heard one. Wow. To elaborate, so it's not so esoteric, and for those who don't know what esoteric means, it kind of just means like inside joke sort of thing. It's hip.
No, I don't think we should go there because a bunch of people might get hurt.
Okay, yeah. Okay, in the interest of saving face for the military and the military community, yeah, I think we should leave people to pursue that if they want to on their own. I'm sure they can find the answer on the internet. But Google.
Just Google Dependa and you'll find what it is.
Oh my goodness. But
Google it!
Let me just comment on Sassy Saddles here, because I did just watch that episode today, and I understand your distaste for her. I really do, because I had that for her too. But like, it honestly, the way she reacted to it first of all, I gotta give props to Rarity for just giving her a second chance and for being kind and understanding and like really allowing Sassy Saddles to pretty much immediately have her redemption. Very compassionate and caring and understanding of Rarity's character. But Sassy Saddles, it's like if you examine her character in the episode, you can tell a lot of her actions come from her own insecurities. I mean, there's the line there towards the end of the episode where she makes some comment about how she can't have another boutique fail. Like, she is just so consumed with her fear of failure that it causes her to be this way. And that kind of makes her a bit more real and relatable, honestly. So, I don't know.
She said she couldn't have another boutique fail.
Well, I'm just saying, to me, that kind of made her, I don't know, a little more well developed rather than just being kind of like like a token villain, you know, which had minimal character development and minimal kind of background. It just having like that one comment and kind of like these little hints here and there, and it kind of like allowed you to fill in a lot of the blanks and make her character more in depth if you were inclined to. Inclined to fill in those blanks and kind of give her the depth that the show hinted at. And I know Jake the Army Guy Tweak would agree with me, because I know that is one of the things where he says, you know, one of the best things a writer can do is hint at larger backgrounds and kind of like give this sense of a larger universe, of more depth. And you don't have to go into all the details. You just kind of have to make comments and make things seem like it's a real world and give these little hints here and there, and then allow the reader, the viewer, you know, whoever your audience member is, to fill in the gaps on their own. And so, I don't know, I think it was well done. But going back to, I mean, I'm sorry, I don't want to cut anyone off if they had anything to add to that before going back to the other discussion about the most recent episode.
I love Midnight Raven Pony.
Yeah, Raven Pony was pretty cool. It's unfortunate. As far as I know, Tara Strong didn't do the voice for her, though.
Nope, she didn't.
What's funny is that I don't even watch Teen Titans, but I just knew in an instant. I'm like, is that supposed to be Raven?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty obvious. It was a blatant. It was one of those other references.
Screaming reference. Yeah.
And you're right, Joe. The shows kind of have moved towards that, and it does kind of add an esoteric element to it again, to reuse that word. And so not everyone will catch every reference, but that's kind of like the point of a fandom, is so like other fans can point out the references to other people who wouldn't catch it, and like help each other see all the little details and like shout outs that are done. So I don't know.
The risk that you have running with pop culture references is that at one point or another, it's going to become dated. When you don't have any originality, you're basically putting it into a specific frame of reference, and after a while, that frame of reference is going to be gone, and it's just going to be in the past.
You're absolutely right, and that is something that I think they really need to be cautious of. If it can work well, if their references work well within the show, they don't interrupt the flow of the show, and it doesn't need to be understood, like you don't need to know what that reference is for it to work. Like, I feel like Raven Pony you don't need to know who Raven from the Teen Titans is for that character to be just entertaining in her own right in that context of that episode. So I think even without having that reference, it still works. But you can't.
And we're talking about classic Raven.
Even then, you're still kind of referencing the goth movement with that character.
Yeah. So you're right, Joe. You do have to be cautious with references, because if you base too much of like your show's episode, like it's like you pointed out, a show or an episode, you know, can basically start to fall apart over time just because the references are no longer valid. They're no longer understood. They're no longer relevant. So it is a fine line, and some would argue some of the writers in the show and animators in the show are pushing it too far. But we'll see. Time will tell.
Heck, I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I'll be watching something and they'll, have the song from Space Odyssey 2001, the fucking epic overture thing, or like the classic Good, the Bad, and the Ugly whistling thing, and I'll just think to myself, I'll get it because my parents were not losers and they've exposed me to some of the classics. But I still think to myself, how many people these days are watching this and they have zero idea what that's from?
That's a valid concern, a very valid concern. Now, staying on that point, do you think that having the pretty blatant, I mean, I think we all agree here that the new episode, The Brother Who's Social, was a pretty blatant reference to Mrs. Doubtfire. Do you think without having that insight that the episode itself still works? Do you think people need to understand that reference to enjoy the episode, or do you think they can enjoy it on its own merits?
I think people can enjoy it on its own merits.
I'm inclined to.
Yeah, because...
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
I mean, I'm sure that's not the first type of story that's been done. A guy dressing in drag so he can spend quality time with someone special in their life. But so that one just kind of works. Plus, I mean, it's just kind of like a silly concept, and just like showing you to what lengths they're willing to go to spend time with that person.
Yeah. So I do agree. I believe that in this episode works very well. I think it'll hold up. But were there any other references in this episode I missed?
I guess, well, you can also, if anyone has seen Birdcage, which is another fantastic Robin Williams film, it also has drag in it, and you could also make the resemblance to that, too.
I have not seen that movie. So
that is a great movie. That is a great movie. You should watch it, Spangle.
I mean, we can all agree here, right, that Robin Williams has done a ton of great movies. I mean, he's a great actor. So, I mean, if you disagree, feel free to speak up. But no
correction. If you disagree, feel free to kill yourself.
Oh,
Joe!
Joe, just telling it like it is. Just laying the smackdown.
You don't disrespect the Rob. You don't disrespect the genie. All right.
Fair enough.
Not just the genie. He's been a president several times.
You don't disrespect Good Morning Vietnam. Okay.
Good Morning Vietnam. Oh my goodness. Yes.
You don't disrespect Peter Pan, because he was Peter Pan.
He was indeed Peter Pan.
So yeah, again, if you do not agree with us, apparently Joe will find you and make you regret it. But I am more understanding. I get that people are entitled to their own opinions. But you probably will not be well received in the comments. So maybe keep it to yourself. Just saying.
I respect your opinions, but fuck you.
Well, I mean, Joe and I both are military members. We understand the freedoms we're fighting for, but that doesn't mean we have to like it or like your opinions or agree with them. So you're free to express yours, but we're also free to say fuck you, apparently. Well, I mean,
like
definitely.
the Westboro Baptist Church.
Yeah. Circling back around to that topic, huh?
God.
Yeah. Okay. I'm actually gonna take that effort on topic. Ponies. New episode.
I'm sorry, Joe. You cut out for a second.
All right. There was something else I wanted to say about the new episode.
Go ahead for it.
I felt a little bit of a hint as though, like, I know they've already done tips of the hat to the bronies, but like, in some ways, it kind of felt like they were making another backhanded appreciation comment to the bronies, because like you got the dude who's feeling left out because they're all still focusing the marketing on little girls, and it's like, for me, it does help to see all sorts of characters and not just from the female side. It's always refreshing to see interesting male characters, because like, all right, yeah, it gets kind of boring when everybody's a freaking mayor all the time.
Yeah, the show is definitely.
How do they reproduce if there's no freaking dudes? so it's nice to see it tone it down from the girliness and bring it more into like a general
more
viewing
balanced.
capability.
I was about to
balanced.
say.
Thank
I was
you.
about to
Thank
say
you.
from
Balanced.
Joe's view of the, if you don't have any dudes, if you've seen Generation
It's
3,
good. It's good to see. It's good to see balance.
Well, if you've seen Generation 3, literally when
I-
two rainbows cross, boom, there's a baby unicorn.
Magical
Or-
pony.
I
I think
I don't remember season 3.
no generation.
Oh,
season
Generation 3.
3.
Oh, I didn't watch.
Generation
Hey, we don't talk. Scarlett, you know we don't talk about the older generations, okay?
Hey, it's not my fault Josh went and watched it for Halloween.
Really? Okay. Maybe it's subject to have him to elaborate on when he's on the podcast next time, or next time he's on the podcast. Let's flip those words to make a bit more sense here. I do agree with Joe, though. It is nice to see. I mean, the show is definitely gender skewed, and we all know why that is, because it's, they're trying to hit their more target audience of younger girls. But at the same time,
Who can pester their parents to buy them toys so they'll give Hasbro their money.
yeah. I mean, have you heard the news, though, that Hasbro is actually coming out with a line of toys geared towards their older fans? I mean, for My Little Pony. Like, they're actually coming out with an
Really?
official... Yeah, I saw a little bit of news on that. I haven't followed it up much, but I did hear a bit about that. So, it looks like
Are they upset that Funko is stealing their thunder with the vinyls?
it might have something to do with that, for sure.
And they got me sold. Those things are great.
I've got a few of them right here in my room. But
I got a couple of them at home that one of them Joe gave me. Joe gave me my first Funko vinyl.
Aw.
Scarlett, you saw me trouble myself with that Hot Topic because I'm like, don't
that Hot
spend any
Topic.
money, but they're on sale.
Oh, it's
Fuck,
true.
man.
He got him. What was it? It was Spike in
Shining Armor and Spike.
Yeah.
Nice. The bros.
I actually
Dudes.
picked up 3 at Walmart before I came to Korea. It was like, I think I found Rarity, Applejack, and I can't even remember who the other one was.
Hey,
but
I know
I'm
it,
just like, holy shit, grab. It's
I know it.
it's better that I pay $11 per now than $20 for them at the convention. Okay, it's better this way.
Hey, I know it. I know at Borders they have some ponies. I know they had Big Mac and Applejack last time I went.
Oh, I told my mom to get the Sweetie Belle one for me for my birthday.
So, I mean, like I said, it definitely looks like Hasbro is recognizing that they could be making more money by marketing to the Brony community in general. But I do want to go back.
Cha-ching.
Cha-ching, cha-ching. But I do want to go
Hey.
back to the earlier discussion. I mean, I'll let you get your thought out there, Scarlett, before we go.
I was about to say they're going to be making a whole bunch of more money because they're releasing Mod Pie and Cheese Sandwich.
That's the vinyls, the vinyl figures.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that isn't Hasbro stuff, right? That's
I
Funko.
mean,
It's licensed.
it has Hasbro's name on it, so.
It's licensed, so they're only getting a royalty.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I mean, I do want to acknowledge right now we are well over our hour mark because, like I said, when I started these podcasts up again, I wanted to keep them 30 minutes to an hour. But, at this point, in for a penny, in for a pound. So, Joe, you brought up a good point earlier about the lack of balance, the gender skewed, like towards the female ponies. And I saw an interesting discussion someone brought up because they quoted a few excerpts, and I don't know if I agree with this yet. I'm still kind of like mulling it over, but how they kind of said, "Oh, gender roles are reversed in Equestria." It's confirmed in this episode because I mean, Rainbow Dash makes the comment that don't expect us to take it easy on you just because you're a stallion, and at the end of the episode,
That's just Rainbow Dash. That's just that's Rainbow Dash being who she is.
And then, I was going to say, then at the end of the episode, you have Big Mac start talking about his feelings, and then he's like, oh, you don't want to hear me ramble on about my feelings, when it's like typically the stereotype. I'm not saying this is right, but the stereotype in our culture is that men typically don't talk about their feelings, and women are typically the ones who are more sharing when it comes to how they're feeling and their emotions. And so someone was like, gender reversal roles confirmed for, My Little Pony universe, rah, 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 typical, wave my hands, look at what I discovered. And like I said, I don't know if I agree with them yet. So it sounds like, Scarlett, you don't agree, but Joe, what do you think?
I mean, it is what it is.
Is what it is. Fair enough. I get what...
Yeah, I really have no thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that too. It's a show. It's a show aimed at, target
Little
demographic,
girls.
aimed at...
Yeah, I mean, it's just one episode. People, calm the hell down.
I mean, people would point at other things too throughout the series, saying that it's definitely more of a matriarchal society just because, their rulers are essentially goddesses. And just the fact that it seems like a lot of positions of power are held by women. It seems like women really do a lot of the things in their culture. So it seems...
Yeah. Queen Victoria, ring a bell to anybody?
Yeah. So it's debatable for sure. Like I said, I'm still kind of like mulling it over, seeing how much I agree with it. Because, I mean, I don't know. Anytime a male character comes into play, it seems like they're pretty independent on their own. It doesn't seem like it's trying to make the male side of Equestria any lesser or kind of like... What's the word I'm looking for? It's like... I don't know. It's... I feel like I should stop before I say something stupid, honestly. Get some feminists up in arms about something I say. But it might already be too late about it.
Yeah, look past their stones.
Triggered. Call Tumblr.
Call Tumblr. But still, I do think it's a valid point for discussion, at the very least, to say, it is possible that their culture is more matriarchal, whereas, American culture is definitely more patriarchal. And it's getting more balanced. It's getting definitely a lot more equal as time goes on. I mean, especially with our generation, it's a lot more equal, and it's just progressing further and further. And I'm all for equality. But at the same time, I don't know if Equestria really has that kind of distinction. I just think, again, it's a show, and it's got a lot of female characters because target demographic, again. And at that, I don't think there's really any point to looking further into it unless you're trying to flesh out the universe for the purpose of a fan fiction and trying to get all your social structures right for that fanfic. But
isn't this why we have taking ponies too seriously? Isn't that what because that's exactly what that is. You're just taking this cartoon geared for little girls way too seriously. Don't overthink it. Just watch it. Take it for what it is. Ask yourself, did it entertain me? Yes. Keep watching it. No. Don't watch it. Her to her.
Brony Joe, again, telling it like it is, telling you to keep it simple and don't overthink things. Keep it as... I was going to say...
Hey, Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
Exactly what I was going to say, Joe. I was going to bring up that same exact acronym. Oh, my goodness. So, same wavelength here. But before we wrap this up, any closing thoughts, any final discussions you want to bring up?
Well, I was actually going to say, this episode, it depended on how your family was. It actually hit home a little bit because, we do have one of my siblings. Everyone in my family looks up to him. He is praised just like Applejack is. Then all of us are like the Big Mac. Like my other two siblings and I are like...
Oh, poor Scarlett. I'm sorry.
But yeah, it's just like... Wow, I mean, I'm sure there's other people out there who feel the exact same way. It's like a family member has done this, so everybody praises them for that.
Yeah, they feel a little left out, a little undervalued, less important. Yeah, and I can see that, and I definitely understand the toll that takes.
That's the cool thing about being the middle child. After a while, when people don't take your advice because you're the only person who's the voice of reason in the family, you just stop giving a fuck, and then you're just like, screw it.
Well, here's the thing, Joe. the person who I am talking about is a middle child.
The star child is the middle
They're
child.
not being a prop. No, that is a bullshit middle child. The middle child is never the star. He is the voice of reason. I swear to God, everything is always in some way your fault, and you gotta fucking think of a way to fix it. It improves your thinking skills. I'll tell you that. Because then you'll just be like, oh man, this is somehow my. Wait a second.
Reminds me-
that
Thinking.
goes
I
to like
did
the other
absolutely
siblings.
nothing. People are just being stupid again.
Oh no, that goes to like me, my sister, and my other big brother.
Middle children rule. We kick ass.
I'm the younger child.
We're the ones who really go places in life.
Being the firstborn of 2 kids, there is no middle. It is younger and older.
Yeah. You guys are the worst. You don't have a middle child. You don't have anybody to keep the family name sane.
I think we both get a little bit of it. Though.
You got the winner and the spoiled one. You don't have the sane one.
You know, that's ironically accurate. So it's become less so. Things have balanced out in our adult years where we gained more maturity and like started evening out. But it was always kind of the perception that.
Oh no, there's always gonna be that one, aka the Applejack of our family.
Well, I was gonna say there was always that perception.
Applejack is the middle child.
That I was.
No, I'm talking about like the star person.
Oh yeah. And I kind of was that for a while, like not so much in my family, but to, teachers and school and stuff, people looking outside. I was like the achiever, the good child. And like a lot of the times my brother would run into issues where like teachers would compare him to me, and he was only a grade behind me. So it was a bit rough for him at times. And I feel I feel a lot of sympathy for him.
I didn't have that with like, especially in high school. I didn't have that because right before my freshman year, they decided 2 weeks, you're going to go to the rival high school of your siblings. Fuck my life.
But I will say this much. He was, at the same time, a bit spoiled rotten. So, by members of the family, because he was the baby of the family. And he's definitely a bit more the charismatic individual than I am. So he's got his own strengths and his own merits, and we both work very well together. I mean, we're a kick-ass team. So, like I said, we never really let that get in the way. I mean, sure, we fought as kids, as most siblings do when you grow up in the same space and you're so close in age. But I will say this much. Anytime there's a sibling episode in My Little Pony, there's always at least a little bit of takeaway from it, just being the older brother and having a younger brother who is so close in age.
Oh, see, I don't have that because between me and the sibling next to me, there's a 10-year difference.
Yeah, I am aware of that. I know that many of our listeners are not, but yeah, a bit. Scarlett was a bit of a surprise.
I was a surprise. It's kind of. Okay, so between me and my sister, there's 15 years, and she's the oldest. By the star child brother of my family, there's 12 years, and then there's my brother who I'm close to, which is 10 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's a bit rough. That is really a different experience for you. I mean, I kind of had a older sister, quote unquote. She was really a close cousin. We pretty much grew up next to each other and spent a lot of time with each other. She was always babysitting me and my brother, and she's got like a good 6-7 years on me. So there's a gap there, but it's nothing that extreme. So.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, there is some of like in both my dad's side and my mom's side, there is some of that big age gap.
Hey, hate to be the butthead here, but can we wrap this up?
Yeah.
I actually have to go on a date. I'm starving and I need food.
Yeah, no, you're right. We need to wrap this up because it has been over an hour and 20 minutes now. And like I said earlier, in for a penny, in for a pound, but we pretty much covered everything now. So, any
there was
thoughts?
one other thing I wanted to say.
Please.
Hasbro has released that Equestria Girls 4 is happening.
Brony Joe gives 0 fucks. I'm going to call it right now.
Yeah.
I'll watch it though. I mean, I've already watched the first two movies, and I'm gonna watch the third here shortly. And I mean, it's pony content. I mean, Horse Girls content is still kind of pony content a little bit. It makes me entertained, whatever. But any final thoughts, comments before we wrap this up?
Yes, Big Mac is still best princess.
Big Mac? Yeah, I would agree.
I don't know. I don't know.
Scarlett, don't argue it.
Hold on. A reasoning. For those who have seen the movie, you know why.
I've seen enough screenshots and memes and stuff of the movie because I still expose myself to pony tumblers and Brony's meme base, even if I haven't seen the new episodes or new movies. So I have a inkling of what you're talking about. But any other closing comments or thoughts before we say our goodbyes and wrap this thing up? Silence is consent in this case.
Swag.
But, okay, so if you have any podcast topic suggestions, please put them in the comment section below. As I said earlier in this episode, I only check the comment section of the most recent podcast. So if you want your suggestion for topic discussion to be seen, please go to the most recent podcast. If you have a topic discussion you want to send in a bit more directly, either message our YouTube channel or send us an email to fobequestria@gmail.com, which will also be in the description below. And
or you can also send it to if you have a Facebook, send it to the Facebook page.
At which point it's Scarlett's responsibility to let me know. But
yes,
I can't promise that she'll come through for you. That's up to her. But again, thank you for watching, and everyone say your goodbyes.
안녕하세요.
I'm just gonna say this, Josh. You have offended me with your new taking ponies too seriously.
안녕하세요.
I don't know if he's going to
고맙습니다.
And Brony Joe's apparently speaking Korean, which I don't know. But until...
네.
Oh, okay. What are you speaking then, Joe?
No, nay is Korean for yes.
Stop confusing me!
I know, it's confusing as fuck, isn't it?
Anyway, until next week, Semper Philly, my bronies.